Kate Orman novel.
Oh, yeah. All right.
It's very helpful that's on the side, so I'm not
There we
peering
go.
at YouTube.
There we go.
Yeah.
Very helpful. There we are. There's we should be live.
It says live in the corner.
Well, look at that. We are indeed live.
Hello, live stream.
Hello, live stream.
We've chosen to wear clothes this time.
Well, yeah,
You
wouldn't
have.
know it. You wouldn't know it, but there we go. There we go. Hi, live stream.
Well,
Filling
from
up.
top-
Filling
from
up.
From the waist up.
Yep. There we are. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Radio Free Skaro live stream. We'll be starting.
Where's my camera?
We'll be
There's
starting in
one.
about
There.
8 minutes. 8 minutes or something like that. So,
That's some good grunting and pointing, Warren.
yeah.
I'm pointing at my camera. That's where your
I know.
camera is. I'm helping. I'm helping.
Helping. Warren is helping.
Hands are for helping.
Hands
are for healing. Hurting hearts need some healing.
Don't you know that tears are
Take
not
my
enough?
hand with your glove of love.
Don't you know that tears are not enough?
Thanks,
Wow.
Kurt.
There's our CanCon.
There we are. Yeah. So yeah, we're just letting the thing fill up. By the way, kids, hi everyone. Welcome to the live stream. As I said, if you would like to submit your Fluid Links questions for our Advent calendar, submit them in the live chat there. Preferably using the hashtag Fluid Links, because when we go back later to check all these, we're not going to do them live, obviously. It'll
Why
be
is Warren in
easier.
the closet?
Yeah, it'll be easier to
Because Warren
find
won't
them.
come out of the closet yet.
Yeah.
That's right. Respect my connect to YouTube. Is this actually gonna work? No, it's not. Okay, I'll tell you why here. Because this is my office. This is a closet. It's actually it's a den. If you listen to real estate people, but I don't.
Right.
It's
What's
it's a
your other
walk-in
den?
closet.
What's your other den called then?
The solarium, which is a
Solarium.
tax dodge by the building because technically, the building envelope it's a balcony theoretically, even though it's enclosed. So it's just a Vancouver real estate tax dodge that I
see.
don't benefit from. Other than having a solarium, which is kind of nice, but.
How nice.
Tiny TARDIS, the answer is Redbubble.
Red Bubble.
That's actually the answer for this too, I believe. Or
That's
T Public, maybe this is. I don't
Oh,
remember.
well, for what it's worth, I got mine, I think, at a Target in the States, because I thought I can go to a Target in the States now. They don't have them in Canada anymore. They closed all the Zellers, and then they had Targets, and then they all left.
Oh,
Yeah,
Target.
well,
I thought you were
Target,
thinking Hot Topic for some reason. I don't know.
No.
Because that is at Metrotown if Vancouverites want that. In
Those
Tokyo,
are-
that's an
those-
apartment. That's true, Phoenix. It
Yeah.
is. I've
Those
I've
are
lived in an
definitely
apartment
in
Tokyo,
Canada,
you're not
yes.
That's true, yeah. So there we go. Yeah, I don't think we've ever done one of these live streams in the UK, like it's like in late afternoon in the UK. So welcome, United Kingdomians, if that's what you're called.
wrong. Britannians, I believe they're called.
Britannians.
Albionists.
Are they honest? Are they honest, though?
No.
In the UK? No. There we go. There's some Fluid Links questions popping in there. Fluid Links. We'll be recording our first batch tomorrow night. So,
I'll tell you, Madeline Kay.
Oh, wow.
That ball guy from the Merlin episodes or issues.
Is there, are links in the comments blocked?
I don't know.
Let's try putting a Redbubble link in there. It says this comment has failed to post.
Whoa,
I have
Chris!
to
Why
log
do
into
you
Google, so I'm just going to reply to people right here.
why do you post such inflammatory content, Chris? Is what I'd like to know. Yeah.
Let's take off the HTTPS : see if that helps.
Maybe it
So I
is.
can it still recognizes it as a link. Yeah, it won't please. It won't.
I don't-
It won't allow links.
Mr. P, submit your Fluid Links just as you did right there. That's how we submit the Fluid Links questions. Just post them in the whatchamacallit, in the comments, in the live chat. Not the but the comment. Put it in the live chat though, preferably, because then we'll scroll back later and collect them all. We'll be doing this for each of the 3 weeks. We'll be doing some Fluid Links questions. So, but yep, just there you go. You betcha. That's where we do them. That's where we do them here, kids. Fluid Links, because Twitter, aka X,
dumpster fire.
is a bit of a
Sucks.
dumpster fire.
Full of idiots.
We're kind of limiting our scope now because people have wisely chosen to leave there. But if you're wondering, the music we're listening to is Cat Flap from the just released Survival remixes from Dominic Lynn. So links in the show notes eventually when these things posted to get your own copy. It costs like $5. It's nothing. So and Dominic Lynn is great. So
Yes, these are good people. I don't know, Warren. Have you heard about Argentina's new president?
Yeah, I hate him.
he's a wingnut. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's like
He sucks.
wingnut whack-a-mole in the world right now. You think you knock one down, and there's another one popped up, and
He's just as stupid as Trump. He has an even worse haircut if that's possible.
yeah.
There you go, Warren. Love for your shirt too.
Thank you.
There it is. Yeah.
I love trolling the nerds, especially the angry ones.
Are there any other kind, Warren? Are there any other kind?
Well, you're looking at 3 reasonably not angry
Are
ones
we?
here.
Well, I mean,
Depending on what Chris's review of the Star Beast is.
No idea what we're going to
the
talk
best
about.
the best Marvel movies are from Scorsese.
That's true.
That's true, actually, yeah. That is true.
Especially Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
I still love the meme where they had Scorsese in front of a screen with the timeline of the phase 1 of the Scorsese movies. Boxcar Bertha is the first one, and I think it ends like Raging Bull or something. Brilliant.
The Raging Bull
Doing his Kevin Feige
cinematic
move.
universe.
It's making me laugh every time.
You laugh at the joke, the funny joke. I wonder how many. I feel like I've watched Disney Plus. Like what, 3? This would be 3 times. I'm gonna have it playing in front of me here.
By the way,
Jog my memory.
Roller Baz and Coaster Dad, I want to see that as the name of a series. Roller Baz and Coaster Dad. They solve crimes, because why wouldn't you?
They saw. Well, of course they saw in their spare time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, not as a job per se.
Draft a hockey team using a doctor's. That's me out.
Yeah, that's right. Keep them coming, kids.
Warren, you'd have too much trouble finding a good midfielder for your hockey team.
I don't even know what that means. And I know that's a deliberate error, but I don't actually know how
you've been
it's a
trolled.
deliberate
You've been
error.
trolled, Warren. You've been trolled
Yeah.
by how little you know about sports. So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
But see, that's acting as if not knowing about sports is a character flaw, which it isn't. It's a character plus.
So it is. So it is. All right, we're probably 2 minutes to Belgium here for what it's worth, because we're going to start at the top of the clock, or
My
the
favorite
bottom of the
Iron Maiden
clock
album.
if you're in Newfoundland or India. India has a
Does India do
half an
that
hour
too?
later. They do. I know this because I watch IPL cricket, and it starts at a certain time. And I have to
It always
figure it out
baffled
when
me
that
as a
is.
child.
that the whole
It continues
country?
to baffle me as
Whole
an adult.
country. Whole country is, yeah. I think there's only one time zone in India. I think. I could be wrong about that.
That's
'Cause
a
it's
big-ass
it's
country. I don't know
It's
how
a
big.
long country, but it's narrow, you know.
Yeah.
And there's China, which is a giant country, and they're one because
Yep.
of communism.
UTC plus 0530.
What screwed me up was going down
One
to South
time zone.
America, and the time zone didn't change. Even though it was an 11-hour flight, you're like,
Oh yeah, you
expect.
think of what?
Yeah,
Should
but
have
it was the
jet
exact
lag at
same
this
time
point.
zone. You're like, what? Huh?
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, about a minute away. How's everybody doing out there? Feeling good? It's filling up in there. Good. Didn't want people to miss the show, you know, because otherwise you would have had to wait like 2 hours for it to come out at its normal
no.
time.
What a
'cause,
burden.
yeah, you're getting early access to this. You missed all this stuff. By the way, look at the TARDIS in the background. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the TARDIS. Look at it.
Look at my closet. Isn't it exciting?
One of the first things I did last night was change my background to the new TARDIS. 'Cause
Yes, the question was asked earlier where
Right.
you got your Connect 4 TARDIS background.
Okay, I know that's a good idea. I thought about how I could make this out of Lego, and it's tough because it's curved. But you're right. I should get
With different colored little circle thingies.
strategically melt a Connect 4
Okay, this is already complicated already.
and make it that way. I mean, you can 3D print, but I don't know what. I don't know how to do that, and B, it's cheating. This is the most anti-Lego TARDIS there is, though, because it's so curved. Everything is curved. It's an insult to my. But probably I'm probably grateful, to be honest, though, because.
Can you use ramps and handrails though?
Yeah, but it's curved. They're all curved, though. You know, Lego is just not known for their curves.
The
It's,
time rotor would be easy enough because you got just a
Sure.
solid thing with a light in the middle going up and down.
I could make I could make the console. That's pretty much what I could do, but little else.
That's the part that matters.
That's true. All right. It is now noon Eastern. Hello, live stream. I think we're about to start this crazy show of ours. So, where we're going to review the Star Beast. I don't know if you knew that. It's a new Doctor Who episode
What?
that dropped.
I'm in
Yeah.
trouble.
So, I think we'll probably do that in a wee bit. Are you ready? Is everyone ready? We're all recording as well because it's important that this podcast actually records. Recording there, recording there. Okay, here we go. Radio Free Skaro! Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 934. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton. And wow, that theme is brief.
I know it's
for this live stream thing.
for the live stream. Yeah. Hello, podcast listeners who heard nothing different but the live stream. There's a special shortened version of the theme tune. Yeah, this is what you miss out, kids, when you just listen to the podcast version. We're doing a live stream for these. People are submitting their Fluid Links questions in the YouTube chat. We are going to review this episode of this. Doctor Who's back. I don't know if you noticed this, but Doctor Who is back on TVs.
It only took 13 months.
It was only 13 months. 13 months since we did one of these live streams. Can you believe it? It's, of course, Starbeast, which we will be reviewing, as well as the Daleks in Color and a whole bunch of other news and stuff. Because let me tell you, we were in kind of Doctor Who overload yesterday with...
You in particular were in Doctor Who overload.
I went...
I think we all were, but Stephen went a little more off the deep end.
Well, because there's Doctor Who... And then there was Doctor Who Unleashed. And then what I thought was just going to be a Doctor Who Unleashed cut down, which was the Doctor Who behind the scenes on YouTube. It's not. It's completely different. We'll get into that. And there was the official Doctor Who podcast now, which is a thing, and like RTD is like submits stuff to that too. And so I went a little overboard, but it got me to thinking about how I kind of felt bad for the previous era of Doctor Who during yesterday, because everyone was agog and yay, Doctor Who's back and everything. But like for me personally, like as a Doctor Who podcaster, because remember they were out on Sundays in those days, right? And so we would basically have time to watch the episode once, maybe twice. There was no VAM apart from like a 5-minute YouTube thing. And then we'd have to record our episode. And I almost felt like I'm just like, we got to find the time to watch this. I remember once watching it in a stairwell at work. I watched Arachnids in the UK in a stairwell.
On your phone,
work,
presumably.
On my phone. And then immediately rushed home once I was done work to record a podcast. And I felt like I didn't give it I wasn't as prepared, I felt. And I wonder if that actually affected my opinion of the previous era more than it probably should have. But now it's back on Saturdays, and we record usually on Sundays, not in 2 weeks' time, but we'll get to that. And I felt like I was able to dive headlong into Doctor Who and like let it breathe a little bit. I don't know. What do you two think? Did you have?
I don't think you let it breathe at all. You just
I don't know.
stuffed
Yeah, I
it
was
full
going to
of
say,
new
I don't know
stuff.
how you let it breathe.
I had the chance to actually.
You had the chance.
Watch.
That's true.
That's what
Yes.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how many TVs did you have going at a given time so you could consume all this stuff? One at a time or four at a time?
Just one at a time. I watched the show on the main screen twice, and then I watched the Envision commentary one as well. I admit I watched the Doctor Who podcast on my laptop from there, and that's when I succumbed to watching it on anywhere but my TV.
I mean, at least that has a video version.
I wanted to watch it for the video version because I knew that there was a video version, and because Russell T Davies is on there, and I thought they might throw some visual stuff in there, so that's why I watched it.
But they did,
too.
from the sounds of things.
They did. Well, they had them on camera. I guess is
Okay.
that visual? Like we're on camera right now, apparently.
No,
so.
I just mean like they didn't have like little pictures or anything for the set or whatever.
No, not really. No, not too much, but it was all right. And one more thing that before we get to our review is that also what I think affected my opinion of episodes for like the past 15 years, let's face it, is wondering if because yes, surprise, surprise, often we've resorted to alternate means to watch these episodes in order to review them right away. And like being worried that the dodgy means that we would set up to watch an episode, like every time I'd watch an episode, like, I'm waiting for the little loading symbol.
Yeah, my old enemy.
When's the feed gonna
circle
break?
guy.
And like 11:30 local time hit, and like I just opened up Disney Plus, and it was right there. It was right there. It was a new Doctor Who episode. I just hit play, and it played.
Although I have a technical matter that I'll get to when we review it. It's,
technical matter.
yeah,
Oh,
I'm actually gonna be the nitpicky one and put something on screen for once.
Here we go. Okay, well, I mean, we're going to get into this, folks. We're going to get into the Star Beast, as well as, and let me tell you, you won't find this in the official Doctor Who podcast. We're going to break down the differences between the opening and closing credits on the UK
You are going
and
to do
Disney,
that.
Disney Plus version. All this and more on Radio Free Skaro. Chris, we're dying to know what you thought. This is the return of Russell T Davies and David Tennant to Doctor Who, and I sensed in the recent weeks the cauldron of 2008 was bubbling in you, and the listeners want to know, what did you think?
We want to know
of the Star Beast, Chris?
It was very much an RTD story.
Define what you mean by that, sir.
No, on the whole, I thought it was quite enjoyable. Yes,
There we go.
it was. I'm hesitant to use the word romp because that gets overused when it comes to Doctor Who, but
Right.
it was definitely a bit rompy, which was a good relaunch back into the show. Just see, because if you had something like too big, too heavy, too serious, it might be a bit of a pill to swallow. Whereas this is, you got a fuzzy little 3 foot tall alien creature,
Right.
as your main thing, and it was cute. And like RTD said, I think it was on the One Show. It's like E.T. before E.T. came out, because Star Beast the comic came out 2 years before E.T. the film. So it's good to see people ripping Doctor Who off for a change, as it were. But the main thing I'm going to say about Tennant is, man, his hair was on point.
Literally, it was like
mini points.
It was
Mini
very
Yeah.
pointy.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning bit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought so too, yeah,
I was definitely worried, given my lack of particular affinity for RTD and Tennant. Always been a Donna fan though.
Yep.
I was really worried about how this would go, or how I would enjoy it, or if I would enjoy it. And yeah, no, RTD's writing for the most part didn't bother me, and Tennant's acting definitely did not bother me.
Right.
I'm still waiting for the 14th Doctor to be different from the 10th, because Tennant has said, yeah, he's different, and not yet. He
I mean,
isn't.
that happens with every Doctor, really, because they're all a mixed bag.
Because then, even in, I think it was Unleashed. I don't know, there's the two behind the scenes things, so I forget, but I think it was Unleashed.
Yeah.
There's that bit with him and somebody else. Anyway, sitting
Was
there.
it Ruth
and,
Madeley's? Shirley? Was it Shirley? Shirley Bingham?
No, I don't. I forget. Anyway, he's talking about his wife, Georgia, saying to him, "Do you have to?
Oh,
Do you have to practice? Do you have to find the character again? Do you have to find the
right.
voice
That was
again?"
Catherine Tate.
And he just said, "No, it just happened."
Yeah.
And
Just buried there.
that's, considering he has said this is supposed to be different from the 10th. I await that because it hasn't happened yet.
I'll tell you what. On that note, the part that actually cemented me like this is a different Doctor, and just a different approach to it, is the moment when, we first see the new sonic screwdriver's powers of being able. He draws himself a little computer screen,
Yeah.
and then he's just sitting there, looking at it, and like pointing and doing this, just very calmly and everything. And I feel, you know what, 15 years ago, if this was a Tennant episode, he'd be going, "Oh, it's the lost mode of Poosh." He'd be talking to himself.
It feels like he's an older version of the same guy, which is in and of itself a change,
Yeah.
right? So
I suppose maybe because he's a little more restrained in that
Yeah.
way, but then you get to the court scene in
funny,
the
though, so.
in the parkade, and that was, yeah, especially RTD throwing out the whole Shadow Proclamation stuff again.
Yeah.
Parts. What was it? 6 and G or
Abbott
whatever
Moffat
it
did
was.
that too.
Yeah, P and something. Obviously,
Yeah,
a reference
P
to the
and
Crusade
6.
being found. Serial code.
Of
P.
course. Yeah.
Of course, yes. Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely thumbs up on higher there. Thumbs up on the whole.
A raised thumbs up from Chris.
Wow.
Impressive.
We'll talk about it later, but I'm really, really curious about Wild Blue Yonder now.
Oh, interesting.
More on
Well,
that
we've
later.
got all of 30 seconds to judge it off of, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, for those who did watch it on Disney Plus, we did not get a next time trailer.
No.
It was on YouTube,
So-
though, so.
It was on
yes,
YouTube. Actual
and
proper official
and-
YouTube, yeah.
And on the BBC as well.
And the BBC, yeah. Yeah, we'll get to it. Warren, what do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, it felt like, I think before RTD came back, I was like, I wonder if any of what he's done before is going to feed into this, and I think it has. Like, honestly, it seems like especially we'll get to all the trans issues in it, but it seems like he
Right.
has learned a few things in the last 15 years, right? And really sat down and said, how can I do something with this? So that was interesting. Also, he's always been better than anybody else at the domestic stuff, and he certainly was here too. That was and another thing
Yes.
is there's so much money being thrown at this, comparatively speaking,
Oh boy.
and it looks like it, but it doesn't feel like, you know how like some movie is an unexpected success. So the second one, they're like, we can go bigger, when that was not what made it a success in the first place. They went bigger here, but it didn't feel like that overshadowed everything else, right? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like yes, it's clearly better effects and all the rest of it, and there's stuff like the TARDIS, and we'll get into that too, and the opener. All that looks like, yeah, okay, this is a Cadillac as opposed to a Yugo. But nobody's going, hey, look at the Cadillac, right? It's just there, and it kind of. And I think if it was somebody other than RTD or one of the other two guys, it probably wouldn't have come out like that. It would be like, oh, look at all what we can do with this, and they do that, but they're restrained isn't the right word, but sensible, I guess, would be the best way to put it. And but I think my favorite thing of the whole thing was I forgot just how much I love Donna as a character, and she is still my MVP of Modern Who. So, but yeah, this is I thought all the stuff with her was great. Like, you really feel for her. Catherine Tate, well known as a comedic actress, she's really good at everything else too. I mean, not that this is a new insight. We said this years ago when she was first in the show, but she's so good in this. Like the part where those little bleep bag kids are dead naming Rose, and you can just tell you could feel how much she wanted to go clock them. Right? She's really good at that.
Yeah, it was great to see her back, and like right away too. That's what I liked. They didn't like build up, like, you know, kind of like Partners in Crime in a way. You know, they like immediately the doctor hears someone in the street, lifts up a box. It's her. I love that. I love to let's get over it. We know it's coming, so there's no point in building it up. Let's just go. You know.
And
So I would say there's a definite parallel between the boxes and Partners in Crime with the windows.
I liked how they did that with Alan Z too. They just got it out of the way. He's like, he says Alan Z, and then I can't remember his name, but Donna's husband
Sean Temple,
responds with something in French, and then that's just it's okay. We gotten that out of there.
Yeah.
Again, where's this 14th Doctor?
It's
If
you
I,
don't
if
have
I,
a 60th
if,
anniversary
if
with
I-
the same guy and not throw that in there. I mean,
Yeah.
no, I know you gotta throw the hits out there, as it were. But
Playing the hits.
that's
exactly.
that's.
but you got 3 weeks of this guy too, so you're not going to get any character development anyway. So
Well,
and I
that's
think
just
you
it.
already
We've
have.
been
Like, he's
promised
more
that.
sedate.
Yeah. We haven't seen it yet. Yeah, we haven't. You know.
I mean, Warren, I think it was you that mentioned it, or maybe Steve. I don't know. One of you two. There's only two other people here.
Like 3 minutes ago. Yeah.
With the whole, like, you know, just sitting there with the sonic screwdriver and just doing the map and the diagram of the ship and whatnot. Just I really, really, really liked the whole subtlety and just him sitting there and Bingham comes rolling up and you know, hey doctor kind of thing, and just it was just so underplayed for effect, and it worked incredibly well. Because I guess the 10th Doctor, like, you think of him in like Suntaran Stratagem, for example, with the unit, and he's all just like, he's kind of grumpy here as well. But like I think of like you know, don't salute me and whatever. From
He's like overtly grumpy. He's like he's like for a show, you know.
like he's just
I
pissed
don't
off,
like
pi-
guns.
pissed off for the sake of being pissed off. Whereas here he was just like contemplative and just kind of trying to figure out what's going on. And
The other thing you got to remember is we've got an hour's worth of this Doctor so far, and also this Doctor has
but
no
also
clue either
1/3
who
of
he is,
him.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Like, this Doctor has no clue who he is, and he's trying to figure that out. So what's he gonna do? Yeah, he's probably gonna fall back on the old stuff that looks from what the guy he used to look like, you know. So I think from that point of view, other than the metatextual, yes, he's going to do this because it's David Tennant again. I mean, people would be disappointed if he was playing it like he was Peter Capaldi or somebody.
Yeah, I mean, they did talk about like how different do we want to make this 14th Doctor? You know, like, what's the point of bringing him back if he's going to be, you know, Salamander, you know, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
You know, like,
Although,
you might as well.
Now you mention it.
Yeah, let's just don't do Salamander. Not
No,
today. We don't
specifically don't do Salamander.
Yeah, bad news. So yeah, it's more it's fascinating to watch a different. You know, this is one of the lifetime, you know, experience for him because he gets to play the same doctor but a different doctor and do it like 15 years on, which is alarming when you think about it. Like how many other actors get to have that? You know, Peter Davison sort of has, but he's played. Let's face it, he's played the big Finish doctor that he thinks is probably the doctor that he would have done had he been older back in 1982. Yeah, you know, they've sort of played just how they think they would play them now.
But this is actually the fourth Tennant doctor. So there's two of them. Then there's a Metacrisis. Then there's this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're getting all Tennant all the time. I tell you what, I mean, say what you will of Tennant and where he fits in your, you know, your personal ranking system. But God, he is everywhere promoting the show right now. And he loves it. He is like he's all over Doctor Who Unleashed. He was on Strictly Come Dancing doing the reading the rules about 15p per minute for this. And then he throws in, this must have been written by RTD, no offense David Tennant, but or 15 million grotzits per rel, which I thought was
which gets how many people on watching Strictly Come Dancing actually got that? A few, I'm sure, but
3.
Yeah,
maybe 4.
Sabalon Glitz used Grotzits. And Rel, of course, is just
Daleks.
for a minute. In Daleks, in fact, we were watching the Daleks in color and thinking, I've never really properly realized that this is where you find out how long a Rel is when you listen to the Dalek Countdown. Get a stopwatch going. Just over a second.
You did it. You did do that, didn't you?
I didn't, but I will.
Oh, and not to jump ahead with the behind-the-scenes stuff, but another David Tennant fanboy moments when he's talking to Dave Gibbons and Pat Mills, and you can tell he genuinely loves this.
He runs up to go meet him,
and gets his comic autographed, or his DWM, which he's got, which is his.
Yeah, DWW.
Yeah,
oh, never mind.
Yeah,
but still,
Weekly, at the time, yeah, it was lovely. I loved it. It was fun. I thought I always, they really pushed the boat out in the Chibnall era with the new lenses and just the look of the show. And no, this is even better. This is just like the depth of feel. Even you can see it even in the trailers, like the indoor shots of the kitchen. It's so cinematic now. It just looks so
that's one thing I'd wondered because I hadn't seen, because we saw all the stuff about the new lenses and whatnot with Whittaker's era, but I've seen nothing about it this time around.
No,
but so it was at least on. I have to use the Disney Plus version, which I hope is the same everywhere. But anyway, it was the same roughly 2-to-1 aspect ratio.
Yeah, and it's 4K now.
Yeah,
4K
and HDR apparently.
And HDR 10.
Well, this is where I should jump in with my technology thing. So when I was watching it, the beginning opening executive summary preamble thing, which we'll get to in a bit about why that's there, but they showed the clips from the old show, and at least I was getting some very jagged. They didn't up-res those, from what I could tell.
there was the one shot of the space station.
Yeah.
That's the one
shots that were not and then they switched back to the actual 4K HDR. And you're like, oh, okay. Oh, it's somebody. I don't know if they screwed up per se, but this was the one bit that didn't stand out as looking amazing. It was bits that can't because they're old, but
it's old. Yeah, I feel the first bit does feel like it was added on afterwards.
Oh
it was not part of the original.
Which is fine. How many people are going to see this tile go, what the hell is a Doctor Who? And then they kind of need that, right?
I tell you. So yeah, honestly, I went to go see The Marvels last week. Me and 4 other people in the theater, and I have not watched any of the series, so I never watched WandaVision. Didn't know who what's her name was, and never seen Ms. Marvel, and don't remember Captain Marvel because it was 4 years and one pandemic ago. And of course, there was nothing. You just go in, and they're just watching. I guess you're just expected to know. And like Ahsoka, if you don't remember Rebels or Clone Wars.
I never watched most of that, so I have no clue what's going on.
Nothing. There's nothing like that on there. It's like Marvel and Star Wars are digging in. So here's what
Obi-Wan,
you should know.
I gotta hold the torch for
Obi-Wan. Did well.
Whether you like the series or not, they did a very good job of summarizing all the prequel stuff, so you know what was going on.
So when I saw that thing up, I thought, okay, I kind of know this, but you know what? You're right. This is they're building an audience. They are constantly building an audience with Doctor Who, especially on a brand new streaming service. So and
tons of people probably don't know what it is or have vaguely heard of it, right? And then here it is, just sitting there for them. So
so I was A-okay with that, but it did feel a little tacked on, literally.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was,
but I don't know how else you can get away with that.
I mean, it didn't feel as tacked on as the TV movie.
I just thinking of that. I just
Absolute
thinking
info dump.
Yeah,
Of
which-
complete irrelevance, actually.
yeah,
The recap was a necessary evil, yes.
yeah,
It felt really, really cringy as I watched it. And then now that you bring up the TV movie, that was way worse.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That was
absolutely.
way
Yeah.
worse.
yeah.
Because I mean, who are Daleks? Who's the master? Who's
Well, it's meaningless.
whatever.
gobbledygook,
At least
especially at the
there's
time. Like,
there's at least some explanation
Yeah.
here about
Yeah.
about things.
and all it focuses on is the Metacritic
And-
stuff that you have to know.
Yeah.
And whether it was intentional or not, I don't know. But like the shots of like Daleks and Ood and Jadoon and whatever, and then at the end of the episode, you have the nice bookend with the Rose's stuffed animals, all being based on those creatures.
Well, in the
Including
original,
Carne Vista, which
Yeah,
I
in
know
the
I got
origin-
got it wrong.
in the original edit, as discussed in the InVision commentary, Phil Collinson said that they actually had clips of the original monsters, but then they realized that we can just do it audio over top of the creatures because it was
Which works
slowing it
better.
down. It just went, if we go to stuffed animal
Sure.
clip stuff, it slows it way down. So they just covered it all up, which is good.
Yeah, it's definitely less jarring than it could have been. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the whole say Dr. Donna thing, but not Dr. Donna, but Dr. Donna.
Right.
Just the family's reaction to the doctor and all that kind of stuff, and so especially with the doctor at the door and Sylvia seeing him through the
Decking
Yeah.
him,
the
which is
glass of the
funny.
door.
Yeah, the great shot where the camera just runs up right behind Sylvia to the door and like, and then just his face is like,
Yeah.
peeking through the frosted
Yeah.
window there. Yeah, it's a good shot.
as we haven't talked about Warren, you touched on it briefly about the level of protection that Donna feels toward Rose, but same thing here for Sylvia
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
and her feelings of protection toward Donna
Yeah,
when she sees the doctor. Because like that, Donna, if Tennant wasn't back as the doctor, Donna wouldn't be back as the companion. I'm quite
Yeah, I
sure
think
of
you're
that.
right. Yeah.
right.
As a result, this scene only works when it's a Tennant doctor. Because if it had been Jodie Whittaker or any other doctor actor, the scene couldn't unfold in the same way because Sylvia would have no idea who they are.
Right.
But I just really appreciated the whole, because earlier on in the episode when Sylvia's in the kitchen cooking, and Donna's talking about how you have this daughter and you become proud of her, etc., and trying to fishing for a compliment from
Yeah.
Sylvia,
Yeah.
and it never comes. But then we see, okay, Sylvia, she actually does.
She's
care.
mellowed out since the previous
Yeah.
series, which I thought was nice because people do change. Like my parents have gotten much more liberal in their old age, which I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
But no, it was good to see that parallel between Sylvia and Donna is between Donna and Rose.
Yeah. I mean, I like. I mean, let's talk about the great trans storyline too, which culminates in the actual the climax of the episode. It wasn't just a throwaway thing. I was wondering how much or at all if they would deal with the abuse that she would get. Like those idiots.
Yeah, and they just front loaded it.
And I, what?
They did.
But I like that they introduced her first as just part of the family, and then they do that thing about about yes, she still gets dead names, she still gets abuse, and Sylvia, bless her, is trying. She's she loves her. She's but and she slips up a little bit, and we all sort of slip up a little. I mean, Warren, you accidentally slipped
Here's
up
where I have to
last
apologize
week.
for last
Yeah.
week. Ben Padden, he found I did it again. They found the RTD, not the RTD, the Red Dwarf role-playing game, which I put in the archive. I screwed up. They're non-binary. I forgot that, and here we are.
Right.
But I apologized immediately to Ben after I realized my mistake, and they were cool with it. So
Yeah.
Well, as you say, that aspect becomes part of the plot.
Yeah.
Was not expecting that,
No.
but also it seemed to me anyway, as a cishet white male, that it was it felt good overall that Rose is there. She's just there.
Yeah.
It's not here's my trans daughter. It's not awkward, heavy backstory padding introduction. It's just there's Rose.
Yeah.
And I like that RTD basically says, hey, guess what? Older people, here's an example right here, have it's hard to reprogram your brain like this. So he shows that part of it too.
Yeah.
And then, the first inkling one has is the dead naming as the kids ride past on their bikes. And then in Unleashed as well, there's that bit with Yasmin Finney and RTD chatting, and she's recounting her experience in high school and being bullied and whatnot, and that's, I'm sure it's got to be tough as an actor to have things that really resonate from your personal life brought up with this character you're playing and having to deal with it emotionally. Or maybe as an actor you take those emotions and you just parlay those into your performance.
I mean, sadly, it is a true performance of a trans person, because let's face it, they get abuse. Especially these days. They're now the target group for wingnuts out there. We gotta
until they find another one.
Exactly. We got to double down on something, and so that's the group that's getting it right now from these people, and that's why I like about how. Sorry, Warren. I
was just gonna say, a friend of mine messaged me, and he said, as a parent of a trans kid, this is great because my trans kid's gonna see this. And it's gonna be validating.
Yeah, I know. I saw a lot of comments from people who have trans kids or people who are trans, and they had such an emotional reaction, to a positive reaction, because they think this was their life. They felt like this was their life. And, it's Doctor Who, and it's a relatively mainstream show, because they still try to treat it as a mainstream show, and I love that they do. I kind of have been going back and forth with myself about this over the past year, thinking, why are we going so hard for BBC One audiences when maybe we should just say to hell with it and just go for the fans? And now I see why they don't, because a lot of people only know of trans people through the news, and how there's people looking to ban them from literally everything. And now we see, here's a lovely trans girl who's just part of a normal family and a normal life, and this might have been their first introduction, and Sylvia's reaction to that, oh, I messed up again. I think that is great. She's trying and she's learning, and that's just a normal thing too.
I can tell you personally, it's accurate.
Yeah, and then to actually have, that she gets the metacrisis energy and stuff for the non-binary thing. I thought that
was a brilliant out for the metacrisis.
It really was, and I finally understand who I am, and I think it was a great moment. It showed just such a positive story, and wrapped it into the plot of a Doctor Who story, which is really good. So,
and also RTD sometimes swings for the fences and with his own opinions, and it doesn't work. It definitely worked here, and it's like, well, I'm RTD. You don't like it tough.
Yeah.
Good. Great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Yep. He's quite a hero for progressiveness, and the wheelchair, Ruth Madeley's character, Shirley Bingham. One thing that I really liked, and I don't know if this was intentional on the part of Russell D Davies or Rachel Talalay or the actress herself, but when she first meets the doctor, rolls up there and just talks to him, and then she crosses her legs. And I thought that, it shows a lot of people think you're in a wheelchair, and this is where the phrase wheelchair bound came from. They think they're confined to this wheelchair as opposed to being a wheelchair user. Ruth Madeley still has use of her legs. She just needs a wheelchair to get around. And so her crossing her legs was a subtle reminder that my legs still work. But I'm in this chair because I needed to get around. I thought that was a nice little subtle touch,
I also like where he's like, oh, it's a best experience of your life. And she says, you wish. This is another example of the tenant doctor be more, waving his arms around. And he's like, okay, yeah, I can shut down, whatever. Which I like. I like that he's a little more subdued with that.
Yeah.
And the wheelchair also got the chance to become her weapons.
That was nice.
Yeah.
That was very RTD.
Her weapons
a
vehicle.
little over the top RTD, but it was still fun. So.
Yeah.
Just to talk about Ruth, was it Shirley Bingham?
Shirley Bingham, yeah.
For a moment, I much much like the trans and the pronoun conversations that were held in the episode, her, going to the base of the Meeps rocket, and she can't go up. There's only stairs. How do we have a lift later on, by the way? That's my question. Where the hell did this lift come from that we saw at the end of the episode? And why wasn't it there when she... Anyway.
Did they add on afterwards, perhaps? I thought maybe
they retrofitted this existing steelworks to add this lift for the climax.
Yeah.
Anyway, I appreciated that they called out the fact that, normally she might go up there or something to check things out, but can't because there's only steps. And a flip side to that as well is going to be that greatly affects the plot, because if she can't go up there, she can't get taken over by the solar, whatchamacallit.
Psychedelic sun?
There was a lot of technobabble. There was they were going, this was Geordie LaForge level technobabble.
Oh, but it was purposeful.
It was funny. I didn't mind it, but it was a little silly.
And then at the end of the episode, my first thought when we go inside the TARDIS, as I look at the picture over your shoulder there, Stephen, not a single step inside the TARDIS.
Nope.
Everything is ramps.
Yep.
So I'll call it here. Shirley Bingham goes in the TARDIS at some point.
Yeah.
What I love about the TARDIS, by the way, is that I think the way I described it previously was, it's like when in the comics they're like, well, we can do this because TV can't, and they would draw something like this, and now TV can do this, so they did that. But it looks like they pulled it out of DWM because we're on paper, we can just draw this, and then here we are in full form.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the TARDIS right now? Is that
it looks great.
Because it's the best. My God, when it popped up, I think both Eric and I just like, oh my God, because it is the most gorgeous thing. It does look like a whatchamacallit, like a dream essentially come to life. Like here's our perspective, like Ralph McQuarrie brought in and think, oh wow, well look at that amazing thing. Well, we'll just have to dumb it down to fit in the corner of BBC Television Center.
No, it's a practical set.
Let's take the entire set and make it this thing.
Yeah, the whole thing is an actual set. Yeah,
that's one of the advantages of Bad Wolf having a massive soundstage sort of setup.
Yep. That you could leave this thing set up the whole time.
And unlike the death trap known as the Star Wars universe, there's handrails everywhere.
There is. That's true. And it was like, it's bright white. So I remember one picture. Remember a short 10-second video of this leaked months ago.
Yeah.
And I still have it on. I downloaded it because I wanted to see, and I compared it. I thought it was maybe not complete. Thinking, oh no. And now I looked at it last night. It actually was pretty complete. But the lights, because there's each of those little roundels.
That was a surprise.
Are an LED light, which is really cool. They spell out words apparently
behind there.
Yeah, Vicky DeLoe in the commentary said that they could spell out words if you want. Yeah, I know. It's oh my God.
Someone who loves roundels designed this, and they are forever. I am forever happy for that.
Yeah, but what the great thing about this is that it's white. Right? The walls, like the classic series one, looked almost like, oh wow, this is almost too bright and everything. And it's bright, but the way they shoot it with the lighting is not too dark, but it's darker, and there's shadows and stuff.
Well, and they can adjust it too.
And they can adjust it, but it's also it just reminds me of I don't know, the bridge in Star Trek is just so dark. In all the Star Treks, in modern Star Trek.
Well, in the Kelvin Star Treks, it's quite white and bright. And
this doesn't look like an Apple store, unlike those.
The TV versions. It's why are the lights down? So how does anyone see what they're doing?
But sins. That's why. The lights are down always.
Yeah, but the image. Oh, just you could see how big the thing was because it was so the depth of field in shots in the TARDIS. I wanted to spend so much more time in there.
I would also bet, since there's no visible scanner that I can see, one of those things is going to project a big scanner and
Oh, like a projector,
or it could be like a TV that pops out of the console as well.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Yeah, and the console itself is huge. It's still 6 sides, but it's bigger.
Getting 5 Doctors vibes out this bad boy.
Well, Stephen, you said this was based on, was it the Ruth Doctor's TARDIS and
the Clara TARDIS from
Clara TARDIS, right?
Hellbent. Russell T Davies said this in the Doctor Who podcast. He said that he was inspired so much by the classic series. It was by like how good it looked in modern times. Basically, there's new versions of it, and so and here it is. And gosh, I'm glad that they spent so much money on it and have such a it's probably the budget of the entire Eccleston series probably, cost less than this TARDIS. Why I love that they spent so much money is because it feels like, okay, now they're not going to change this for a long time. They can keep it up because I don't want this thing to ever change. And if we change from this, I'm going to be so disappointed.
Have we seen or heard anything about? Have we seen or heard anything about Gatwa's doctor having the same console room?
I don't see why not.
This is his.
Like, why would you spend all this money and not have it? Like, but
knock
they
it
might
over
change
in
it
a
around a
week.
bit. Like, there's all that part at the bottom that has nothing in it right now. You could do what you did with Capaldi and have the same TARDIS, but sort of make it your own. I hope they do that with Gatwa. They have him do whatever it is he wants to do with it.
Yeah.
So you're saying more liquor cabinets?
Absolutely.
More liquor.
That whole bottom area is gonna be wardrobe because he's gonna need it because all the changing of clothes.
Because I mean, in the Matt Smith era, Matt Smith's doctor would be down there fixing this or that.
Right.
And I noticed there's the panels underneath the TARDIS console, which is important for the all-important getting underneath and noodling around.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a noodle.
Important repair work, yeah.
And then I'll say this much for the plotting and whatnot.
Sure.
I'm glad that the presence of the coffee machine in the TARDIS console was covered before we find out how and why Donna lost her job.
Yeah. He probably
that way around it works. The other way around it would just be too cringy.
Yeah, I'm rethinking the notion. Maybe the TARDIS designed a coffee machine in there in order to bring them on their next adventure or something. Taking them where they need to go, not where they want to go.
Possibly, yes.
Because it's because she basically dumps the coffee right next to where the coffee machine is.
But it's also a very Donna thing to do. So.
Yeah, I know, but it's a design flaw. I think. Do not.
Yeah, but the TARDIS is always. When has it not had a design flaw?
Yeah, it's true.
Also,
well,
for all those
Donna was
haters, no, stop it. It's a good TARDIS. This is a better one. Calm down.
So gorgeous.
Because we know they still exist from the Capaldi era, Donna was just contributing to the fluid links.
There you go.
There we are. Yep. It was Talalay's idea to have him run, I think, or Tennant suggested to Tal. No,
it works.
Yeah,
I could totally see that being a Tennant. I want to do this. Can I do this? Please, mommy, can I do this?
Well, no, I think she suggested it, and she says, okay, but now I have to plan a route. This is what he said in the commentary. So he had to plan a route around.
So she could set the cameras. Yeah.
So, yeah,
I was shooting this. Like, do you need drones to shoot this? Like, how do you do this?
Just a crane. I think it's just a crane shot, I think, in there.
Yeah. Although, in whatever Unleashed or the other YouTube one, you do see that they're using drones for the street battle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Earlier on as well.
Big, hefty drones. Big boys.
Yeah, not the things you get off Amazon or something like that. Yeah. It's the look of the show is so great. The visual effects are done by a company called Untold. Will Cohen is back as VFX producer. He's under contract, and he's
they're seamless.
Farms it
they're
out.
seamlessly good. Like they're
really
they're better, but they're not.
I thought Dean Egg was good during the Chibnall era, but this. Really good stuff.
That could just be a testament to how quickly technology advances and how good things are relative to even a single digit number of years ago.
I mean, the Meep, the Meep compositing stuff looked great.
Yeah, so the Meep.
I had no idea it was an actual practical.
Oh yeah, no,
thing
except for the face.
That there was an actress
bits
inside.
And pieces they adjust.
Yeah, so they had. Across all the different things they had a version that they didn't really use much because it didn't really look that good, kind of like how they did BB-8 where they had a person in a green suit walk along, and that didn't quite work, so they didn't use a lot of shots for that. They had like one or two CG movement shots of a CG model, but for the vast majority of that it's a proper actual puppet. And then they basically CG the mouth to match Miriam Margolyes.
In Fusion, for all you nerds out there, because I was like, which one did they use? Oh, they used Fusion. Okay.
Oh, okay. Was it really? That was the program they used?
Yeah, because I was looking it up afterwards, because I saw this flowcharty thing, and that's what Fusion uses. It uses node-based compositing, so I'm like, I wonder if that's Fusion. Yes, it is. This is important to me and maybe two other nerds.
Like 12 years ago, they probably would have done this completely CG, and it would have looked terrible.
Yeah, the Celine, they did do it completely CG. It did look terrible.
It did look terrible.
Well, I mean, Celine, they had actual, actors and suits for some of it.
But the difference between the CG and the live action were...
But it was
they just poured the motion blur on it.
Yeah. Because, like, everyone saw, like, Gollum 20 years ago. Gollum's, like, over 20
It
years old.
still
now.
looks good though.
He's
Over 20.
amazing. But everyone saw that and they thought, oh, we could do that. We could do the same, you know? And no,
you
and
cannot.
everyone tried. So many franchises tried. And even, let's face it, when I was watching Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I'm thinking, I'm not feeling anything for all these CG raccoons and rabbits and stuff. If they had a practical effect, I would have felt a little more for them. And I feel it's weird how like everything's sort of swinging back. We now could do things by having a full size thing. Like even Baby Yoda has some CG elements with his eyes. I think are a little bit. But he's mostly
cleaning
a
out
practical
all
prop.
the rods that are attached to him. But
Yeah, you know.
And sorry, Chris, I just got to sneak in here before you. Basically, this happened with much as I derided some things about the Star Wars sequels, they did go hard on practical, and it did make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Chris, you were saying.
Well, I mean, you look at Yoda in Phantom Menace being completely CG.
Yeah.
No,
And
not
then-
Phantom Menace. In the next two, he's CG.
Yeah.
Was it
next
the,
year.
oh, the other way around. Okay.
He looks terrible. He looks terrible. as a
And he does
puppet
look
in Phantom
real-
Menace,
yeah.
oddly enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind
what I
Yoda
was
in
gonna
CG,
say.
just for whatever it's worth for a 20-year-old argument. I don't really mind Yoda
No, I
in
know.
CG, but
I thought it was like, Neil Gorton is back with Millennium Effects.
That's what
that-
I was going to want to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, Neil Gordon be on that list, but so you mentioned the return of Will Cohen. But yeah, Neil Gordon's back. Paul Casey is back. Danny Hargreaves is back.
Yeah.
I don't know if Hargreaves ever went anywhere.
I don't know
I'm
either.
not sure because we didn't have any of the VAM to go with the Whitaker, the Chibnall
Oh God, I love
stuff
the
to
Vam.
know in the
I love
first place, and
return
I
of
don't
Vam.
remember. I don't remember. I never read the credits close
Yeah.
enough to remember.
Oh, I
But,
did, and we'll get to that.
I meant, if I meant if people like Hargreaves had never actually left.
Right.
But I was saying before we started recording, as we'll get to later, totally Doctor Who, kind of skimming through a little bit of that again,
Right.
And seeing because Paul Casey featured reasonably heavily in it as peripheral people are concerned.
Yeah.
Just seeing Unleashed for the Star Beast and just how much older he looks after 16, 17 years, which obviously he would, but
He'd look older.
just
Not like
Tenon,
ourselves.
Tenon looked a hell of a lot older and wrinklier, and especially around
Yeah,
and
the
they,
eyes.
they get that
Yeah.
off the decks too. It's like if you're over 35, don't wear that suit. I thought that was great.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
great. I love
that's
that
a
line.
line. It's a
It
good
was a
line,
great
yeah.
line.
Also,
But
kind of
yeah.
a jerk ass thing for Donna to say some random person on the
I
street.
know.
But that's also so Donna.
It
that's
is
very
Donna.
that's very
Yes,
Donna.
yes. Can I also? Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say, do you want to talk about Neil Gordon?
Oh, I just want to sing the praises of both the Roth creatures, who are guys on
Yeah.
stilts, which is really cool, and 3D printed. But also, I just love the way they open their mouths. They're not just upper class Brits. They're like, Colonel Mumblesuch, and this is in the drawing room, reflecting on his, war in the Crimea. That's how they sound, which I thought was hilarious.
It weren't like we are warriors of the Roth or anything like that. It was
And
it was
their
kinda
days of
ridiculous.
eating. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I really liked it all. I'm trying to think of what else we haven't covered when it comes to the Star Beast. We talked about the Meep. We
Oh,
talked
the
about-
opening titles. We haven't talked about that.
We haven't talked about the opening titles.
Or the credits, apparently.
So let's get to the credits because for those of you who are wondering, I know there's so many people wondering were there any differences between
One person
the
wondering. He's on this
credits.
call.
And I can tell you that there are different versions. So people, this is why you joined the live stream because I got screen grabs of this. So the BBC version had the executive producer credits on the opening. So basically not the
Okay.
opening titles, but into the first scene. Yes, Chris.
And the Disney version, Disney Plus version, had
Well,
the
I'll
executive
get
producers
to
at
it.
the end, but there were 5 of them.
Slides. There were
Okay.
5. So let me get through this. So first there was the executive producers, RTD, Julie Garner, Jane Tranter, and then they had Joel Collins and Phil Collinson on the next shot. And then producer Vicky Dello, and then Talalay was in the next scene when the doctor's walking
Oh yeah,
into Camden.
The
by the Cybertron.
tally credits definitely different on the.
Is definitely. Whereas the Disney Plus version only had the Dello one and then the Talalay one on the front, and then at the end, as you were saying, Chris, the executive producers were on the end slide.
I wonder if
the
that's a
very
legal
last one.
thing. Like in England, you have to, it could be different
I
union
wonder.
things or something.
I don't know because we've never seen producer credits at the head. It was always just writer. Oh no, actually, it was producer and then not even writer, producer and director. That was the only 2 things. Actually, yeah, but we never had executive producers. That's a new thing. because it was never Russell T Davies at the front of each one as executive producer. So that's a new thing. And then this is really nitpicky. So the BBC, there were 2 different credits. The facilities one, AP Transport, care of Bob Gurney and Richard Gurney, was on 2 lines on the BBC one. On the Disney one, it was 1 line.
You're a very strange man.
Conversely, also the creature design, concept art, previs, and VFX art direction was also on 2 lines on the BBC version, but only 1 on the Disney one.
What could this mean?
And here's the big one. Here's the big one.
Abraham Zapruder's got nothing on you, man.
Yeah, the very last shot. So on the BBC one, it was Bad Wolf with BBC Studios productions for Disney and BBC. On the Disney version,
BBC and Disney were flipped.
it was BBC Studios with Bad Wolf for Disney and BBC.
My friend, when Chris is criticizing you for nitpicking, you have a problem.
I'm not criticizing. I'm just, I'm not.
I think we're in the same boat here, Chris.
I
Maybe me
wanted
more
to
than
know.
you.
I wanted to know. All right, so that's why I did it.
I understand. You have to do this
Yeah.
for your own whatever peccadillos.
If nothing else, somebody had to get paid. Multiple somebodies, perhaps, got paid to do these credits and to do them differently.
Exactly. Speaking of,
So, are you saying Doctor Who is a waste of money?
Wow, that's a
yes,
big old straw man. you
straight
just threw in
line,
there.
straight line from that to that. That is exactly what I'm saying, Chris. I'm glad you found my argument for me right there. Warren, you mentioned the new Doctor Who title sequence.
I can't recall any title sequence choking me up until now, and this one sure did, because this is where a lot of the money went. Wow, that is
really
a
good.
title sequence and a half when the TARDIS is just zipping around everywhere. I was like, holy Hannah, this is pretty cool.
I love the 7B title sequence. That I think possibly was my favorite prior one, especially from the newer series. But man, just the textures and the exploding
Skimming the
through
galactic whatever.
through the clouds and into the nebulas, and oh my god, it was just beautiful.
Can I say one thing that I didn't like? It's how the logo appears. I love how it goes out. It's sort of like the Who disappears and the outline goes towards the camera. But I don't like how it's just the logo just sort of spins and appears. And it's like somebody's just in Photoshop turning it and then zooming. And it doesn't integrate itself organically into it when it appears. But it looks great when it disappears, and I kind of wish it would go kind of like the classic series. It comes like from behind the camera kind of thing, and it goes in front of you. And so that's my one and only complaint is I thought it kind of looked silly, but it just sort of zipped out there.
The logo feels a little out of place with the rest of it, I think.
Yeah,
but the rest of it is what is there longer and looks better.
That's true. It's just if it would come out of it more organically, that's my only.
I loved it. I thought it was a great
addressing
title
of this. Well, watch it again and see how the Doctor Who logo actually shows up in it. And
I
see
don't
what.
care. Also, I love that there's no face, because why would you do that for 3 weeks? Unless
Why would you do that
Maybe
anyway?
they will do it with Shooty, but I
they will.
prefer they don't do it for these with the 3 specials.
Maybe they will. All right. Is that all we got for the Star Beast? It's a lot. Like, we've literally talked for almost the entire length of this episode so far about the Star Beast, and it was 58 minutes long. We've talked for about that long here. So, or not. I don't know how long it's been.
Just about 58 minutes, yeah.
It's been about 50 minutes. Is there anything else you want to mention about the Star Beast before we talk about everything else that happened? Like, there was we did talk about the Unleashed. Did we talk about Unleashed? We did. Well, we'll talk about Unleashed right now. How about the Unleashed? Which is
I'm with Chris. A lot of this meshes together. The two.
Yeah, I know, a little bit.
Things.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover in those Venn diagrams. So I was trying to think if there's anything else to talk about. What do we think about the Meeps character arc, perhaps? Any thoughts about the whole?
Apparently, the boss thing is post-Tenet. So
it's
we'll find out
post-Tenet,
what that's all about.
as said in the commentary. Yeah, as said in the commentary, they said that both Collinson and Vicky Dello were saying about they go, who could the boss be? And I don't know. I've not been told, because it's not anything to do with him. So it's not the toy maker. That seems like the obvious thing, but then why would it be? So
that was my first thought. Yeah,
it's somebody else. Maybe it's the Duchess, as played by Indira Varma.
In that case, who's the toy maker working for? If they
don't know,
like.
Toy
for
maker.
himself.
Yeah.
It seems the kind of guy who would do his own.
Yeah.
He's a small businessman. He's an enterprising gentleman.
Along the line of the Meep, I think we need to talk about Miriam Margolyes.
She was great.
We haven't talked about her yet.
Her
No.
voiceover was good, yes.
Yeah, I've never. Apparently she was in Harry Potter, but I've never watched any of the Harry Potter
Yeah,
movies.
she's a big theater deal, I think. I could be way wrong.
Yeah, I know,
much
like,
theater.
She's been acting for decades
For
and decades and decades.
decades.
She's also been an out lesbian for decades and decades.
Oh, I didn't
and
know that. Oh,
I had
awesome.
no
Trying
Okay.
and you know trying to do her bit for equality and whatnot.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah, I knew of her more than I knew about her. You know
To be
what I
fair,
mean?
I've heard
Well,
she's said some turfy things, but that's third hand, so don't come down on me, people.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. So
But I
there you
have
go.
heard that from
Dunno.
friends. So
Oh,
That's possible.
Mm.
No, her performance was fantastic. I thought.
Yeah.
And then
oddly enough,
as-
I thought the guy who was doing it on set before they overdubbed, I thought this actually sounds pretty close
and
to
the
Marvel
body
movies,
movements
but-
too. The
Yeah.
little person playing did a really good job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know there's like 7 or like these animatronic eyes for a little bit, and also there's a person inside there who wasn't actually, you know, I think she's maybe about 4'6" or 4'7", because then she would just crouch down.
Mhm.
You know, there's just a crouch down
Yeah.
person for the most part when she sort of sits there. Anyway, Mira Margolyes, Star Beast, looks great. Talalay directed, really good.
Yeah, have we talked enough about Talalay? I feel like this if this was Heaven Sent or something, we'd spend 30 minutes just talking about her
Yeah, I know because
her efforts.
but well,
who's Mr. Credits guy? Who was the DOP on this one?
I don't
Come
remember
on,
who the
credits
DOP. Will Oswald, who edited Heaven Sent, was the editor though, and he was great. One of my favorite edits in the whole thing was when Sean walks in and says, you know, and then there's the Star Beast there, and everyone else is sort of going around. She's smells good in here, and then Tuna Madras, and then meep meep boom, and like the cutting of that scene from the meep beat, it just like almost it's the second meep is almost cut off in the edit, and it's perfect timing, perfect comedic timing, which I quite enjoyed. Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, it's obviously not the type of art house film like Heaven Sent is, but it is really well directed. Good stuff, especially in the streets, blowing up the cars and stuff, and you know, all the other little stuff. The handheld stuff in the rocket ship, the climax there, I thought was really good too. You know, Tennant running up and down the walls and everything, I thought was really good. I loved seeing a huge ovation that she got at Chicago TARDIS this weekend.
Yeah,
because they showed it. Allegedly, they weren't allowed to. Don't at them. But they showed.
Well, how could they? Oh, because probably different rules for
public screening.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like they did it. They did, but
Yeah.
they didn't at Gallifrey one. You know. And she got a huge ovation. Lisa Bowerman tweeted it out about they introduced her like right afterwards. That's just a massive ovation. It's like how often does a Doctor Who director get to go to a convention the exact same weekend that their episode is airing and receive instant feedback and adulation? That never happens. So I'm so happy for her for that. So people loved it there. So yeah, it's good stuff. It's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was great. I had a good time.
Good Doctor Who.
And I was not quite Chris level dread for RTD, but I was a little, is this going to be more of the same?
You're
And
a little worried?
was, but in the good ways.
Yeah. I
I
think
think my
Go ahead.
fears have been allayed to a degree, but they're not going away altogether.
Well, next week is Spooky Town, so it'll be
Well-
interesting because I think RTD is very good at that kind of stuff. So we'll see.
Before we get to Spooky Town, as you call it. So yeah, Disney Plus did not get a trailer next time.
No.
Trailer. BBC did.
although that was
so-
separate too. It wasn't
was-
on the actual episode
Oh,
on
was it?
iPlayer. No,
And then
it
of course it hit YouTube as well. So
Yeah.
thank goodness for that. So the links in the show notes.
Hmm.
But Wild Blue Yonder is the one that has had very, 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 very little said about it, and so
know.
I was
wonder why.
so looking forward to this trailer just to see 30 seconds of something, and it's like, okay, this tells me nothing,
nothing.
not a thing. He licks some goop off a data circuit something.
Yeah. That was an Unleashed.
Not a great
There was
idea.
clip. Yeah, the clip from Unleashed.
Oh, that was the
but
clip to the
that was the clip
Unleashed.
from
You're right.
Unleashed. The
Sorry,
trailer's
yeah.
like 15
The
seconds.
trailer's even
It
less.
tells even less, yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's like Mad Men next week level crypticness.
yeah, we know nothing of it. So yeah. Anyway, yes. So there's Doctor Who Unleashed, which Stephen Powell is the host of that, and then there was
Stefan Powell.
Stephen Powell for Wheels. And then there was the Doctor Who behind the scenes on YouTube, which I thought was just going to be a cut down version of Unleashed, but it's entirely different. Might I say I enjoyed the behind the scenes better? I mean, maybe there's
I
more
like them both.
I like them both, but like Unleashed was a lot like, hi, I'm Stephen Powell. Now I'm going to pretend to be a
He
boom
was
operator and
none of
everything.
it.
It's-
Remember-
Go
David
ahead.
Tennant is being such a. I mean, I'm sure I know it's all in good fun, but he's being such a dick to Stephen Powell.
For fun,
I
it's
think
all
that'd
for
be
fun.
I know it's for
just
fun,
this-
but he's
it's
just
on screen.
It's all a bit.
like
Powell didn't
bullying
strike
him.
me as like, and this is more of a BBC in the 2000s thing to begin with, but there was more in your facery, and he's a little more low key than the previous one. I think it's 15 years difference in how you present.
True.
But he just didn't seem as like up in your grill as they did back in the old days.
Yeah,
All-
they
all
didn't
I
have
can
they didn't have an on-screen host for like Confidential or anything like that.
No, all I can say is where's Sylvia swimming with the shark, and what was craft services
Where was that?
providing that day?
What do we?
That's
How
what
is
comes-
craft?
Those are my questions.
Yeah.
Generally, that was kind of the flavor of the day with
Yeah,
BBC
like
stuff,
how?
or British
No,
stuff.
like how has craft services advanced in the last 10, 15 years?
the table is longer.
Kind of need to know this.
COVID protocols. I don't know. Well, there probably were protocols.
it's
there were at
still-
the time.
And masks. Yeah.
I still reasonably vividly remember the uproar from some folks when Confidential got canceled back in
Include yourself in some folks?
2011 or whatever it was. Fighting to bring it back and this and that. But yeah, oh man, that they ran out of ideas.
Well, they did. But
So
you know,
it's-
with
And
only
they probably had much less budget too than Unleashed. I bet you
They
Unleashed
did.
for a behind the scenes show probably is doing okay for money.
yeah, they have so much.
Although is
fam.
it just BBC or is it Disney as well? Because it's not
No,
on
it's,
Disney.
it's just BBC.
Unleashed?
It's
Just
just
BBC.
BBC.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
know. This is the thing, folks. I mean, if you're going to be an international Doctor Who podcast, it's nice to be able to watch everything. And a lot of the stuff we had to sort of go by alternate means to watch
if you're
it. But
a fan,
important.
it's nice to watch everything. Let alone
Yeah,
this.
but as an internet a podcast with an international audience, I feel it's important to bring you everything. And there's a lot. There's a lot. Great.
Too
we
much,
were
frankly.
we were messaging each other late last night, thinking it's almost too much, Doctor. So like we're hooed out a
Well,
little
I mean,
bit here. Yeah.
Warren and I watched less than you did because we didn't
Yeah.
do a third viewing. We didn't do the Invision.
I didn't
Whatever else. We didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't zapruder the credits.
Well, we're not insane.
Yeah.
But Warren and I felt burnt out enough.
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
as I was saying to Kat last night, we just it went from famine to feast, and it just we just
On
gorged.
Thanksgiving, no less. American Thanksgiving. So you got to do
Yeah.
the whole Homer
Yeah.
thing of unbuttoning your pants, going on the couch, and going, ugh,
Yeah.
psychically speaking.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that one alone.
How you know?
But like you talked about near the top, like with the Chibnall Whittaker era, we got almost nothing for extras. We waited until like the last minute the BBC could to put out trailers and all this kind of like it was almost literal famine when it came to Doctor Who
But we
stuff.
don't know the behind the scenes of why that happened. Like,
No, well, and it doesn't matter. The fact is that it did happen. But now we've got, Tennant and RTD on the one show. We've got the Doctor Who
everywhere.
podcast. We've got
Yeah.
Unleashed. We've got the other behind the scenes thing. We've got, all this stuff to digest, and it's just it's a big shift going back to this because we had it in RTD's first run.
Yeah.
RTD is a consummate showman. That's
is a
all
showman.
there is to it.
He really is a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a promoter for the show. There's
To his credit.
no two ways about it.
To his credit. Yep, absolutely. He
And to
does
the
a lot of
show's
stuff.
benefit, no doubt as well.
I think so too.
Because I forget what the overnights were at the end of the Whittaker era. They're like 2-point-something million. And this got less than Battlefield. That got more than
Right.
Battlefield. Whatever. But we argued about whether to include stats in the
And I
episode today.
win. I know I don't win.
But
We're in
as
this guy run.
Did not do it.
for those on the live stream, as the Chiron says at the bottom, 5.08 million BBC One for overnights. Disney Plus numbers, we are probably never gonna know.
Never gonna. That's why we don't bother.
Yeah.
That's why we don't bother.
They're
with
locked
it.
in some sort of a vault somewhere. They're,
But
they
you've
look
also
just
got
like the TARDIS.
segment.
You've also got Disney Plus in how many markets versus BBC?
All of them.
Just
Yeah.
Well, literally all the world except for UK and Ireland.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually, I haven't even looked to see how Irish folks got on with trying to watch the thing because they don't have access to iPlayer.
They don't have access to it. They are out to
What?
lunch.
Come
yeah.
on, England.
Ireland,
Enough.
yeah.
Haven't you done enough to Ireland?
Because it's deemed that they can pick up the signal from BBC One in the eastern part of Ireland. Therefore, they don't get it. They don't get iPlayer and Disney. I mean, they don't get Doctor Who and Disney Plus. So Ireland, and I think Northern Ireland too, or is Northern Ireland have BBC One? I don't know.
That sounds like
Northern Ireland's
They
part
would
of the
do
UK.
because the
that
UK
sounds like a
but yeah,
decision made by
Ireland,
somebody
yeah.
much like the Roth Warriors. Oh no, we won't be transmitting that.
I know it's tragic. So our hearts out to you, Ireland. Yeah, feel free to pirate that. Ireland.
There you go, Ireland. You have our permission.
You have
our
You
permission.
have Stephen's permission.
Exactly. Yeah. So tons of VAM, which is great. I met. You know what though? So RTD commented on his Instagram post about the commentaries, and somebody asked, "Will these be for all of them?" And he says, "No, there won't be one next week, for instance, because they only had budget. We only had budget for quote 5 out of 9 episodes, which is a weird number.
Because we have 9 for Shooty's first run, and
he
these
might
3.
maybe he's counting that, and then and that math factored into this because obviously
Or
there's
he
not
had the budget
5.
to do it during Shooty's time, and he pushed it forward for one.
Maybe
or two.
that's what he might have done that.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So we might not have InVision comment. We certainly don't have one for Wild Blue Yonder. We might not have one for the Giggle.
The Giggle.
Yeah. But they were cool. It was fun. And David Tennant was there and just loving life. Just loving being Doctor Who again for, he shot it for 3 months and then
just
a
the right
year
amount
later.
for him.
Yeah, a year later he just gets to appear everywhere and talk about Doctor Who, which he clearly loves. And so good for him. Living his best life. They had a 60th anniversary Doctor Who trailer, which is narrated by Paul McGann. Remember
great.
Doctor Who Day was like last week. If you'll remember, which is cool. It was a great trailer. They had shots of like literally everything in there. They had a new image of Ncuti Gatwa, which and a Billy Gibson in there too. Yeah, but it was like, oh my God, Ncuti Gatwa's right there, like seconds of it. So that was pretty cool.
Also, I love that they show that and all this other expensive stuff, and then they're like, rubber crap. Here you go. You get that too. I'm like, they don't shy away from that. That's nice.
Yeah, good old rubber crap too. So. That was pretty. Yeah, Doctor Who Day happened, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that went on. It feels like a decade ago. Doctor Who Day,
It was 4 days.
It was 4 days ago, but
3 actually.
Yeah, before we get to that, just because the InVision commentaries are their own separate tab on iPlayer, they're on there as well. But finally, also on Doctor Who Day. Our long national nightmare is over. Totally Doctor Who is now on iPlayer for those of you who celebrate. So I hope you enjoy that. It's all there, all 2 seasons worth.
They look
totally
like,
Doctor
just from
Who.
the screenshot, they look like they saw you from across the bar and they enjoy your vibe.
Maybe they do. Yeah, they
So
kind of
getting
do.
a bit of that off this.
The host of Totally Doctor Who, Barney, and I can't remember the other person's name, but so
Liz something.
yeah.
Got a cool Nelson Mandela T-shirt though.
Yeah. That again, this is back in the RTD1 era when like literally everything was Doctor Who,
And as we've talked about in the past, from a nostalgic point of view, Totally Doctor Who would go out on a Thursday before, 2 days before the Doctor Who episode, and they'd always have a clip. They'd have a
That's
clip
right, yeah.
unique to Totally Doctor Who, and
yeah.
so we'd watch it predominantly for that clip, and have to sit through Companion Academy and whatever else.
I'd forgotten about all this.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
now Warren, if you're in the UK, not Ireland, you could watch
Well, I'm gonna go to Ireland
just to avoid Totally Doctor Who.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hey, can we talk about the Daleks in color? The 75
yes.
minutes.
Before we do, because sorry, I'm just gonna go back a little because there's some stuff that was skipped over.
What do you need?
So it was unofficial but official that the Giggle is going out at 6:30, same as the other 2.
Yeah,
On December 9th on BBC One, but that's now on the BBC website. It's also
Yep.
1 hour and 1 minute, so I think that's the longest of the 3.
It is. Yep. Also, hey, there was some confusion briefly because Disney's own press release, fact sheet stated that it was going out 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, but
They had
11:30
time
Pacific.
time zones wrong.
they messed up their own thing. So, but it
Yeah.
was exactly the same time as the BBC One, as we kind of guessed was what would happen. But yeah,
And then there was was this Thursday night, I think it was,
Right.
in Cardiff Bay.
oh yeah.
There's a cool little like water projection. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You have a slide for it.
Yeah.
It was a kind of cool little promotional thing for the 60th
Mm-hmm.
with
yeah.
them skipping over Paul McGann. For the,
Did they skip over Bob again?
Was
I
there a
don't-
doctor
Oh,
involved?
for the 60th anniversary trailer, the second one they're calling Trip of a Lifetime.
right.
I remember seeing on Twitter, Facebook, someplace anyway, somebody complaining about there's no Paul McGann representation,
Right.
given he narrated the whole thing.
Whole thing was on there. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously that's Paul McGann
over.
representation.
And every doctor gets that, like the not even to like 10 frame, like flash,
Right.
including Joe Martin's in there too.
Yeah, there's also a on Twitter they had I might have been on Threads. BBC Doctor Who's on Threads now, by the way. They started on Doctor Who Day, and they had like a 60 years and 60 seconds basically, and so they had like clips and they had a 1 second and 17 frame clip of Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson running down a hallway. So and it said 2023, so maybe that's from the Christmas special. So who knows?
Just to go back even further, just in
right.
the live stream chat
Timey-wimey.
from
All right.
Rainbow Warrior 71. Did we talk about Justice for Donna? I may have missed due to connection issues. We didn't really talk about the resolution to the meta crisis, did we?
Sure
No,
we
the,
didn't.
the fact that
I think we need to go back to that.
the fact that the doctor
Thanks for the
sort of
reminder.
says it killed me. It killed me. It killed me. It killed me. It's like, okay, it affected you, but you know,
I was
he
counting
did-
out doctors. I'm like, did they kill all those doctors?
no,
After
but it
this one?
killed. Yeah, I mean,
No,
he,
I know,
you know,
I know.
it just it was about how it affected him and how wrong it was that he did.
It's very, very Tennant
He's
doctor.
not the egomaniac that 10 was, but he's still a bit of an egomaniac.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, here's how it affected me. Here's how me taking your, you know, I do love that literally the first thing she remembers is that I gave away 166
That's very
million
Donna thing to
pounds.
remember.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know about you guys, but I laughed out loud when she said, just let it go. They both said, just let it go.
Yeah.
I literally started howling. I was like, yeah, accurate. And that's exactly the sort of thing that 10 and apparently 14 would
Yeah.
not realize because they're too wrapped up in their own nonsense.
Exactly. Yeah.
So one of the a regular complaint I had about RTD's first run was the lack of oomph or the, you know, it's too him writing resolutions to plots or getting out of difficult situations was not his strong suit. I will be the first amongst us to say that I don't think I had any problems with the resolution to the meta crisis.
No, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I like that he thought about it enough. To be able to like split the burden between Donna and Rose.
Yeah.
I think that's
brilliant way to do it.
that's
Yeah.
clever enough. And that Donna, throughout the story, there'd be little bits of progression toward the meta crisis kind of coming to a head. And like even Sylvia points it out at one point, it's like, oh, she called him doctor, when that had, you know, doctor hadn't been used up to that point.
Yeah.
And then just the unlock sequence, if you will, is just a series of what would otherwise be random words.
Yeah.
So that it was never talked about in Journey's End that there was a way to undo this, but there is a way to undo this. He did undo it, and it didn't feel like as much of a cheat as it could have.
And I
No.
thought Tennant had the proper amount of gravitas
Yeah.
doing that. I thought that was cool. And also, I just thought about this right now, although it's probably obvious. There's a little Wilf parallels there. We didn't talk about Wilf either.
No.
About
Golly
them
gee.
being stuck with the two
Yeah,
different.
talk
And he
about
doesn't
him.
make as big a hoo-ha about it. He just goes, well, I got to do this now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tennant's like when he's doing the unlock thing, it's just he's just standing there. He's just saying, you know, Mexico,
Yeah.
whatever. And yeah, because it kind of takes you a second to twig as to what's going on, and yeah, I like that a hell of a lot more than I ever thought I might.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it
Yeah.
was well done.
Yeah,
And
I want to say, just be briefly on that, I want to say that Russell T Davies in his Doctor Who magazine production notes, I think, like, here's 6 words from the special. I think,
Oh, right. Yeah,
literally, that might have been it. I think he probably posted that exact phrase months ago.
and
And
because
it meant
it's
nothing.
no,
We all would probably just assumed these are going to be words that are sprinkled in an episode. No, it's actually in sequence. I could be wrong about that, but it just feels like that might have been a thing. So.
yeah, and to what
Wouldn't
Warren
put it
was
past him.
what Warren was saying, Wilf, we don't we have the mention of Wilf and the doctor's confusion that thinking that he died and whatnot. But Bernard Cribbins, as we saw in the behind the scenes stuff, he was at the read throughs,
He was there.
just not yet seen on screen.
They
And I
shot.
like how-
They did shoot him. They did.
I like
shot
how Kate
two
Stewart
stuff.
takes care of him. That was nice. That was a nice touch.
Yeah,
And
I
I think
know.
he'll be in the third one. I don't think he'll be in the first. He'll be the end of the third one.
I
would
think
the
he will
guess.
be. Yeah.
The second one we know is not
Right.
set on
Yeah, it
Earth,
doesn't
whereas
make
we
any
know the
sense.
giggle
Yeah.
is. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good class. I love Tennant's reaction. Actually, I love that man. You know, like, oh, wow. You know, like, oh, how dare you make me feel good things about the end of time? You
I think
swine.
That was one of the few good things about the end of time.
for the sake of brevity, I can understand it not happening. But I think if this were a more real world situation, I think Donna or Sylvia or somebody would question the doctor a little bit more about his intimate knowledge of the family and Wilf and why do you love Wilf? Like, you wouldn't have served together, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like how did that relationship come to be? And they just kind of gloss over that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, from a viewer perspective, for anyone who's watched series 4, you know the details of why. But for somebody new,
Also,
You
the
don't-
Neris agenda. I like that they snuck
Sure.
Neris
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
in
Neris.
there.
Yeah.
Who- she is at the wedding. She is at the wedding, right? So we
She's
do
at the
see
wedding,
her
yeah.
at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, she's at the wedding in Runaway Bride. Yeah, all those years ago. You know. Yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff. We might have to come back and do we don't do commentaries for Modern Who again, but I feel like we almost might have to do one for this just to
Maybe,
get through it again. It just feels like there's so much to talk
Well,
about.
we're gonna have time past January, so
That's true. That is very true. Yeah, it's true. It all happens in one weekend right now, folks. That's why we're like well over an hour into this episode, and we've only just talked about the Star Beast and its assorted things. So can we move on to the
Yep.
Daleks in color, which we did a feature on last week with Benjamin Cook, Rich Tipple, and Kieran Hyman about the colorized, re-edited Daleks that aired on BBC. Of course, we had no way of seeing it.
no. Why would I watch such a thing?
Here in North America,
You're
but yeah, it went out. I loved it. I tell you what, I was more fascinated about the editing at first than I was the colorization. No offense to all the work that it took to obviously colorize this thing, but knowing the story as well as I do and finding where the edit points was fascinating to me. You know, just seeing how the sausage was made, but.
yeah, I was trying to take a little more laid back approach to it and just watch it. And wow, is it jarring when you're dropping 100 minutes off a story,
Yeah,
and you have to make very, very harsh decisions about edits.
you do. Yep.
I mean, I can understand why and how it was that way, but yeah, it's just there's just some disjointedness to it that just didn't feel good as a viewer.
Okay, so this is blasphemous, but
Okay.
I loved it. I've had problems watching the old stuff because it just goes too damn slow. And I have nothing against black and white. A great black and white movie. One of my favorite films in the world is Seven Samurai, which is black and white. Like I love black and white, but when I'm already bored, it doesn't help. And so they did a great job with color in the first place. I thought they cut it down expertly. I had it on while I was doing work, while I was doing stuff that I could just kind of keep an eye on it. I love the sound design. I think the color work is exceptional.
Right.
I also love that they spruce up the sound design and they tighten it up, but they do not screw around with the backgrounds. That's still a painting, you know, that they colorize, and they're like, "Oh, this is amazing! Look at that city," and it's the same damn thing as it was in the '60s, which I love.
Yeah.
I thought they balanced out the new and the old well enough, and the
They-
new music
they-
is great too. I thought
They could have
Yeah.
done like CG.
exactly, and they didn't do that. Like they
thing.
just
Yeah,
said,
they
it's in
didn't.
color, but it's the old one, but we've tightened it up, and I thought they struck exactly the right balance as far as I'm concerned.
I appreciated. I appreciated the musical changes to it, but man, there was a lot.
Well, yeah, there was.
The way, as I phrased it in the text to you guys, it sounded like Mark Ayers' direction was, if there's a second of the broadcast without music, we're gonna kill your cat.
But in the original, there's a lot of seconds without music. Mike, that whole thing where they're running through the caves at the end, I'm like, oh, thank God they cut this down, because it's
are the
excruciating.
longer episodes. Yeah.
Yeah,
They were
well,
like
that's
7 minutes apiece there. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
episode
one.
5 was yeah. It was. Well, I think the part I enjoyed the most was the little montage at the end, where
Oh my God,
they did
yeah,
colorizations of clips of a lot of other Hartnell
Which
and some
means
Troutman
other
stuff.
stuff might be on the way. I hope so, because I would love to
Well,
watch these in color.
RTD had said, I forget where, Stephen, I think you told me where he said it, but RTD has said that this is not, the Daleks is not the only one they're going to do.
Well, I'll tell you where
more.
it was said. It was said on this podcast last week by Benjamin Cook.
That's what it
Christ,
was.
yeah.
That's what.
Kieran Hyman.
No, because
What's
I
your
brought,
source on this? The people who are
The
doing
guys
it.
are doing it.
Yeah.
Also, I'm
Yeah.
glad they're getting more work.
No, because I read, because that's what it was. I read something about RTD saying it, and I brought it up to you, and you said it was part of the interview with Rich Tipple et al. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it was. What I liked, the sort of the action sequences, like really, like I was worried how they were going to do the first cliffhanger, because it's great. The plunger comes towards Barbara, and it's like one of the most amazing cliffhangers in the show's history.
And you can't not have it.
You can't
Yeah,
not have it.
exactly.
And they built up to it great.
Yeah,
like they
they
basically they condensed it down, because in the original episode it's like Barbara's in here and she's scared, back to the doctor and the rest of the crew, back to Barbara, back to that. But they put all the Barbara stuff together into one, and it just sort of built up into the big reveal, the big cliffhanger moment. Another one which is a little bit disjointed at the front, but you're dealing with what was shot basically on a on multicam, sometimes
what's
one
great about-
single shot. But the elevator sequence I thought was really great. There was a lot of energy, and the music was kicking, and
The elevator sequence too, it was really
yeah,
great.
which is the real energy to it all that I thought was really.
And
what you could say, Warren?
like I was just gonna say, as somebody who does editing for a living, and so do you, like there is an art to taking what you have handed to you and working with it. And this is a 60-year-old thing they've handed to them, more or less. So it's like the fact they're able to pull this off in the first place is pretty impressive, because you can only work with what you got, and what you got is what went to air, essentially. They don't have anything extra. Like,
yeah, I like how they would work in like audio from one section would go over top the action of another. That's sort of the way that you kind of combine the story, because in Classic Who you can't do it that way. You have to sort of like go, here's what's happening here, and they're resetting the actors on this stage, because they're basically going to cut to them for the next scene live, and so you don't have the option to sort of have it told in that way, but now you can, and condense the action a little bit.
What it reminded me of was a guy, I wish I could find, I've got it, it's on a hard drive somewhere. Some guy edited down the 3 Hobbit movies into one movie, and one of the smartest things he did, they did, I don't know if it was a he or a she, or they for that matter, they took the part where the dwarves are singing in Bilbo's house, and then they take all that stuff from the beginning and they overlay that on top of it with all the dwarves being attacked. So instead of it being 2 separate sequences that are a big cinematic deal, it's sort of, here's us telling the tale of what happened, and it works perfectly. And that's kind of what they're doing here.
Yeah.
Kind of mixing and matching stuff around.
I've had it on my hard drive for years. I want to watch that now.
It's good. It's really, they get rid of all the orcs. It's wonderful.
There's an edit out there that I watched some years back of the Phantom Menace where they just took out everything with Jar Jar.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
And it's just like, if Jar Jar's there, it's gone. Just chop it. And there's enough story
Right.
happening when Jar Jar is in the scene that it really doesn't work.
Also, it puts the focus on all that really incredibly exciting political stuff that we're all there for.
Yeah. No, I thought it was really cool. Knowing the Daleks as well as I do, though, it did initially, it was kind of jarring, but I also had fun pointing out like where, like,
Oh, it's
finding,
super
like,
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, like the Barbara Antidus romantic storyline was kind of left out. Them pushing the thing on top of the elevator was left out. There was stuff that was just sort of left out just to keep the thing going a little bit. And I thought it. And the great thing is there was some connective tissue. The Susan writing the hand letter was gone, and the Daleks instead wrote it. Which was, and they explained that in a dialogue sequence with Nick Briggs and 98-year-old David Graham, the original voice artist on the Daleks, also re-recorded Dalek lines, which is pretty cool.
I don't remember the part where on. I forgot. Go on. I've completely lost my train of thought. I had a Dalek question that just leapt out of my head.
Oh well, I didn't have anything else to go on, Warren. So Daleks, they
No.
didn't do CG Daleks. They're all 1963 Daleks, and as you said, there was the occasional shot of like the TARDIS at the beginning and the end materializing was a new shot. But apart from that, maybe a shot of the Dalek City or one or two, because they would have to cut those in, and the flashbacks also served as edit points, because when Richard Martin's shooting the big 3-minute long wide shot of all 4 characters on screen, he got nothing to cut to. That's when you throw in a flashback or a shot of the city or something like that.
I remember what I was going to ask.
Okay.
Ian Chester, when Ian's in the Dalek, originally, was he doing the Dalek with the Dalek voice added in, or was that done for this? I don't remember.
No, it was Ian.
William Russell did it.
Yeah, he wasn't in the Dalek, but I
No,
think
but did they modify his voice in 1963?
Nope. That's
Okay.
original audio.
That was
That's
my
original
question,
audio. Yeah, that's original audio. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. I'm eager to see what they would be working on for another calendar year, because it took a long time for them to colorize this.
From the live stream chat, our good friend Neil Perriman. I
The
bet
good
Steph,
troll in our chat.
Yeah.
yes, I bet Steph Coburn is kicking himself now. The first episode would have been a shoe-in to do.
He's right.
As far as colorizing
Also,
goes.
true.
when I saw the 10th planet in there, I'm like, oh, I want to see Sock Lamp in color. Yes, I do.
Yeah, just to follow up, Neil also says, just think when AI gets powerful enough, we'll get a version of Ghostlight with 4 parts. So that might be handy too.
How about a version with no parts?
Or for Warren's benefit,
erased it.
Mark Cockrum, can we have the Happiness Patrol in black and white?
Or not at all?
That was
As
suggested
I
on,
lay
on
waste, as I'm missing episodes
yeah,
of my
I
own.
want to say Matthew Sweet, or maybe it was Mark Cockrum actually on Twitter suggested that to Benjamin Cook, talking about that. Anyway, be funny. I joked that they should do the rescue next and extend it to 75 minutes and see how they do that. Just draw it out, just play it at 80% speed, the whole of the rescue, and that's how you get to 75 minutes.
At the risk of giving him airtime, so Ian Levine was very outspoken about
Oh no!
Oh, dear.
Come on!
About
We're
the
having so much
Daleks.
fun today. Why would you have to bring this up?
one of his points of, and I'll bring up only the one. One of his points of criticism that I think I kind of agree with is maybe they should have considered doing a 90-minute cut, because then they're losing a little bit less. They have time to expand on this and that, maybe make it a little less jarring, but not, increase it to the point of being too untenable.
Well, knowing Ian Levine, he will do a 90-minute cut that he can never release. So there you go. You're going to get that eventually.
It took them a year to colorize 75 minutes. You want to add another 15 minutes on top of that? Come on. It's cruel.
Well, the colorization is only part of it. The plotting
so that's
is
even
definitely, it's definitely a factor you have
the
to consider.
colorization is the most work,
'Cause at the end of the day, they are throwing this on home video and all that, so people
That's true.
are, well, at least
Yeah,
they want people to buy it.
that's true. February 27th. Also happened on Doctor Who Day. I was watching on iPlayer, and then I started about a half an hour later, the Daleks in color, and then right after it was Adventure in Space and Time on BBC4, and only about halfway through did I remember, oh my God, I think there might be something at the end of this that I've heard about, and so I quickly sped ahead, and
That
sure
a
enough,
certain person spoke of at the GQ ceremony thing.
a little bit, and sure enough, Ncuti Gatwa appears at the end of an Adventure in Space and Time, which was just wow. I actually screamed out "Holy S word," even though I was kind of expecting it. But they actually did it, and it happened, and he was there, and he was smiling, and he winked, and it was, it was great.
I'd like to say I vastly prefer a Ncuti Gatwa sex wink to a Sylvester McCoy sex wink.
Yeah,
Maybe that's ageist of me, but I do.
yeah.
It's hobbitist of you.
I suppose so, yes.
I forget who it was, but I saw somebody remark that apparently the way it was shot, subbing in a different actor is not as hard as.
Yeah, because
you
it was
might
all green
think.
screen
Yeah.
with Matt Smith, and so you
Well-
could sub in anybody. You could throw in all the different doctors if you wanted to. You could have Richard Herndl, which I think somebody did as a picture somewhere.
Somebody put David Burton, Rob Ritchie on Twitter,
Yeah.
put David Burton,
Yeah, he
the alleged successor to Sylvester. Well, if you look at the original version, Matt Smith, the second shot, he's appearing in front of the console. It's really bad.
Yeah, the CG is the compositing is better here.
It's much better here now. There's Shooty Gatwa looking across at David Bradley from 10 years ago.
It's got a
which
different
is really
vibe.
cool.
It's got a more, I don't know, confident, charismatic vibe.
It doesn't. Yeah,
And
it's
I-
almost like Matt Smith is kind of like wistful a little bit, whereas Gatwa's like you're in good hands.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
Also,
I also like the intentional or otherwise the kind of fake out as well, because he spilled the beans that he quote unquote kind of, or not quote as such, but anyway,
Yeah.
he more or less shot a scene with William Hartnell.
Mhm.
And this is not the first thing that came to my mind.
No.
So maybe
Because
he
I watched this, I think David Bradley. I don't think William Hartnell, even though David Bradley is playing William Hartnell.
Right.
And
Yeah.
what Gatwa said was, bang on, factual.
I don't think it's that calculated. I think he just likes to spill beans on things.
Well, I
hope
think
so.
they just probably told him. He just here stand against the screen, and you basically what you're doing is looking across at William Hartnell. They're not saying you're looking across at actor David Bradley playing William Hartnell. You're looking across at William Hartnell because that's what he's doing in the scene. And so Gatwa's probably saying, "I just did a scene with William Hartnell,"
Yeah.
because he doesn't know, he doesn't see the other
Kind
end.
of
He's just-
accurate in a way.
He's
Yeah.
being told where to look. Essentially, look at me, and then smile. Do your wink, and then smile, and that's what you do. And so it was
And
great.
Warren, what did you say? Would you call him charismatic?
Yeah, he's just very charismatic, very, he's got a confidence to him. Not that Matt Smith didn't, but that's not what his doctor was. Also, I don't know about you guys, but I was zaprudering the hell out of his costume. He's got necklaces, he's got the rings we know about. This
Yeah,
this
you
all
got the
looks
rings.
great
I know
70s
the
stuff.
rings
Oh,
were
yeah.
kind of cool. I never noticed a shot of the rings there that he had.
Well, it
on
wasn't
the
because
console.
he there's that little clip thing from him in in a parking lot.
Yeah,
talking
I know,
about all
but,
his rings.
Parking lot's one thing,
but I'm
to
still,
see
but
it
I'm
on
still seeing
screen-
it closer, and I'm
I
just like,
suppose.
okay,
Yeah.
I
Also,
couldn't help
just
but zapruder is what I'm saying.
to go backward on a very quick related tangent, the kind of tartan-esque waistcoat that Tennant's doctor had, I dug that.
Yeah.
Also showing a bit of chest, which is the Gatwa agenda, from what I can tell.
Yeah. Well, isn't it odd though
You
and
got it
intriguing?
flaunted.
Isn't it intriguing that this is the first proper view of a doctor that we've had? He's not even had his debut. We've seen him in press things. We've seen a tiny second of him in trailers. This is his first proper appearance as Doctor Who.
And what we saw in the trailer for Power of the Doctor, whatever was around him was purposefully obscured as
Perfectly
well.
got it. So yeah, we haven't seen a proper. That was our first proper look of Shooty Gatwa's Doctor. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the Shooty Gatwa stuff. If you were there for the unearthly child content
Oopsie.
in Adventure in Space and Time, you're not going to get it. 7 minutes was chopped out? That I didn't actually watch that bit, so I don't
Cobra
know
and
what
go
was
to hell.
chopped out. Yeah, that was unfortunate. So I think someone needs to, and somebody probably already has, created an alternate version that's the full version of the episode, but just with the Shooty Gatwa.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me. Is it you?
Wouldn't be
Would you
that
do it?
difficult these days.
No, exactly. Also, David Tennant was everywhere. He was he read a CBeebies bedtime story, which is adorable. It gave me such Tom Baker on Disney Time vibes in 1975. And what I loved about it is he's walking on set and he sort of like walks out of the TARDIS,
Did you?
and the TARDIS moved. It's like you could tell it's on wheels, like it's the
I was
prop
gonna
has just
say,
been
did you
wheeled
see
in.
how rickety the
So rickety.
Good and
And like
rickety.
he
That's what I like.
hits the door and just like boom, and it made me realize how much is taken out in the edit in actual Doctor Who episodes and how cheap this lovely show still is. We just know how to
Great.
edit
Wonderful.
around things.
What's the problem here?
Yeah.
I don't see a problem at all.
It was great. Oh, David Tennant is just living his best life right now, just enjoying basically a year of being the Doctor again, and with only having to spend 3 months shooting it. Just like good for him, man. A lot of fun for good old DT.
Well, you know who gets to live their best lives next?
Who's
the
that?
Sea Devils. The Sea Devils.
Devils.
For a
So
second.
the Mirror has come out with a report. They dropped this on a Friday night. Nicola Methven's the reporter who did this, who has a better hit rate than not when it comes to Doctor Who scoops for the Mirror. And she's reported that there will be a 5-part Sea Devils spin-off called The War Between the Land and the Sea to start filming this spring. We all know that RTD has been wanting some spin-offs, obviously in this part of the Doctor Who universe. I had heard through my own sources, so to speak, that there would be like a, monsters probably. This kind of tracks. It kind of makes sense. The fact that it has a title is a little odd to me, but it's a 5-part spin-off series, which is honestly a perfect length for something.
Titles change. Titles change.
Titles do change. But you know what? To film the spring is a thing that isn't too out of the ordinary because they're going to be done Ncuti Gatwa's second season probably in the spring, which means they'll take a break from Doctor Who and begin shooting.
It's not the best of comparisons. I'll grant, but if you think of some of the like Star Wars series, like Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, whatever, most of those were 8, but Obi-Wan was 6. So doing 5 here.
Well, and British TV shows have always been like that. But my spider sense was tingling in the wrong direction with this. I'm like, why would you do a show based around the Sea Devils? Like, much as I love the Sea Devils, nobody else seems to. So why not? Would you? Why? I just don't buy it. I mean, I was wrong about Tennant. I'll probably be wrong about this. I just don't buy it.
Part of all that, and I'm of two minds, and I don't know which one is correct, if either. The Sea Devils have gotten a lot less screen time than the Silurians have.
That's true. Yeah.
So maybe it's time to give them a little more limelight. However, prior to Tennant's return, the second most recent story is all about Sea Devils.
Right.
So is it too soon to bring them back, or was that kind of like backdoor pilot?
Maybe it's a backdoor.
Is it a remake of Warriors of the Deep?
They'll make it better.
Nothing is a remake of Warriors of the Deep.
I mean, it could be set anywhere. That's the thing, And I like that. I said this before. Is that other Doctor Who spin-offs, like Torchwood, like Sarah Jane, they're all like Class. They're all set on Earth, and the Doctor is often on Earth, and so the whole time you're wondering where Poochie is. Why isn't the Doctor here helping in this specific scenario? When this is exactly the place where the Doctor would be, and he just doesn't happen to be here this time around. Whereas something like this, it can be set whenever. It's the Sea Devils against humanity, probably, is what I'm thinking. There might be a thing going on. It might not necessarily be about the Sea Devils, but it will be about someone's experiences with them. I remember I suggested a few months back about how a great spin-off would be Daleks, but not Daleks. It would be like basically a resistance force against it. It'd be like Andor, and instead of the Empire, it's the Daleks. They're there, but the main focus is about the people who are fighting the Daleks on some other planet that's not Earth.
Maybe they could have a whole 6 episode story of Davros pre-wheelchair.
You know what? I suggested that to someone in the South. Like, wait a second. What if this is also kind of a thing? What if they're doing a Genesis of the Daleks thing with pre-Daleks, maybe that's the thing, because why, do you bring Julian Bleach back just for a 3-minute cameo on Children in Need, or is this all part of something that's going on? It's also something that you could do mostly in studio, which they have a lot more room for now in Bad Wolf Studios.
You wouldn't be able to do that with the war between the land and the sea. Like, just the title alone tells you that.
If they're in the sea, if they're underground, if they're if they're in caves, there's stuff that you can get around without having to shoot it in public, and you got all the studios.
I mean, it might be good. I'll still watch it. It just doesn't. My reporter instincts are saying no to this, and
I know
they've been wrong before. So
the specifics of it and the fact that it isn't happening right away, and Nicola Methven is, as I say, even though it's the Mirror, and we kind of cast a white eye on the Mirror sometimes. I don't know. It's interesting to me, and I think having a spin-off series be fewer episodes than an actual series of Doctor Who is important. You don't want to have.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
So 5-part also makes a lot more sense too.
This should be prehistoric times. We see why the Silurians and the Sea Devils disappeared, and it's because the apes from 2001 beat the living hell out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
With help from the monolith.
That could be it.
The one benefit of using the Sea Devils is you can kind of have that availability time-wise, because it could be thousands or millions, whatever years in the past. It could be modern day. It could be the future. Because Sea Devils
so Scaro's ship shows up.
They're down. They're down there. They're down there somewhere in hibernation.
Yep. They've been there in the 1800s, the 1500s, the 1970s. Or
little more coaxing / reminding from the live stream chat.
All right.
Murray Gold's music. We didn't talk a jot about Murray Gold's music and his
It was
and
just
his
there,
his
like it always is,
his
you know?
return to the show.
Yeah.
That was me. It just felt like
So
gold.
I never ever hear the music. It's there,
No.
but it just never registers. But I did notice at least twice in the episode where there was the rejiggering of "I Am the Doctor"
Yeah.
in the
Matt
Meeps
Smith
ship,
theme.
in the
Yeah.
Meeps ship's control room thing, and then at the end, right before the end credits.
Yep.
But and you said it was different house, Stephen?
The original "I Am the Doctor" is in 7/8 time. Dun, 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 dun. Skips out the last quarter note there, but this version was in 4/4 time, so they added an extra quarter note, perhaps to differentiate it from Matt Smith's Doctor, but still have it in there. But yeah, it was you heard correctly, everyone, if you were wondering if that was indeed Matt Smith's outfit. And there was a little bit of the do 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 do
Yeah, I
do.
did
That was
notice
a little
that.
bit in there too. Yeah.
But I
And,
don't I do
Cat-
register music a lot, but I didn't for this as much. It was just like, well, there's Murray Gold stuff in the back.
Yeah.
And Kat had called out about the Doctor's theme at the start when the TARDIS was materializing
Yep.
as well.
A little bit in there. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Little touches here. Even though even Donna's theme didn't feature too heavily, only when she told the Doctor that he shouldn't wear a suit after 35. Is only a da 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 dun dun. That little madcap
there's that.
1940s comedy.
Dun
music.
dun 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 dun.
Yeah, it was kind
Well, I
of.
mean,
like
that's
that.
Donna's theme in the first place, right? So yeah.
And that was the only time we really properly heard it, though, which I liked because I like that music, okay, but I remember like seeing the scene where they find each other again in Partners in Crime, and it's that comedy. Wow, we're on a comedy moment, everyone. And sometimes I feel like dial it down. We don't need to be told if this is a comedy moment, and we didn't. We
I
thankfully
would
didn't
predict,
have
though,
that.
The next two, like, because Murray Gold is very good at being a chameleon. Like all
Yeah.
the stuff in Heaven Sent, for instance, which was all new and great and different,
Yep.
and like and well, just from 10 to 11, all this, all
Mm-hmm.
the ways he changed things up. I think this one is the standard / background stuff. The next one will probably be interesting because it's scary. The next one
Yeah.
after that will be this big, huge, according to RTD, huge event thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be different music there too, because he's very good at that kind of thing.
He's a musical chameleon, that is for sure. Wow, I think we're actually we're close to the end of this episode. How about that?
We are.
It's but we will. Oh, we you know what? We haven't talked about the Radio Times 60th anniversary shoot. There's the Radio Times anniversary episode issue that came out, and there was this lovely photos of like Millie Gibson and Bonnie Langford holding cyber heads up, and Millie Gibson looking at
Excuse
stars.
me, that's Handel's family you're talking about there?
Oh, that is
That's
Handel's
right.
family. That's true. I like that it's a Silver Nemesis cyberhead that
Yeah, it's very
Bonnie
chromy.
yeah, I kind of like
as
that.
as opposed to all the other stories that Mel faced the Cybermen in.
Yeah, exactly. Neither has faced Cyberman. There's Waris Hussein and Russell T
That-
Davies.
That is the best of the bunch.
Yes.
It's just looks so good. I love seeing those two together.
I saw some, I don't remember who, so I can't give proper credit, but somebody on, I think it was Blue Sky, said, when you're Steph Coburn and you open the door and this happens, these
Right.
enforcers are here to knock you
Just like
right in
we'd
the
like a
noggin.
copy of the tape. Yeah. RTD was with the Cyberman. Mandip Gill looking lovely in a dress with Carol Ann Ford.
Yeah.
It was a very swishy dress that Mandip Gill had, and Carol Ann Ford is there having a good time. So yeah, it was fun. It was a fun thing because sometimes Doctor Who can be fun. We will.
It's kind of a
Well,
weird thing.
yeah. One last couple things. It's not happening yet, but the big launch for Ncuti Gatwa, by the way, will probably be on Monday, December 11th. Just so you know, aka after he regenerates. We're gonna have
yeah.
Ncuti
Yeah, makes
Gatwa
sense.
in a couple weeks. He'll be appearing at the end of the giggle. But he will also be on the Graham Norton show, December 15th.
Birthday gift for me.
That's right. It's Warren's birthday. Everyone wish Warren a happy birthday only on December 15th.
That's right,
Not
not
any
now.
other day. And Dominic Lynn's Doctor Who The Survival remixes are now available to order. So get those because they're great. I played a little bit of it in the pre-show chat, and it's good stuff. So there you go. Links in the show notes for that.
Where else are you gonna get a clean copy of Toby Haydock's podcast theme, but on there?
I love the theme for that.
Yes.
So it's okay.
There's also
All
one
right.
Big Finish thing if you want to talk about that. But.
Big Finish, yes, Master Planet Doom is due February 24th. Sorry, Big Finish, once again, we've
Is
run out
Doom
of
in
time.
it? Is this Doom meaning the master, or is it just another Doomy thing?
No, it's just
The word Doom.
Just the word
the
Doom.
word
gotcha.
Doom. Eric Roberts Masters in it.
Oh, there's
yeah.
axons. There's axons in it.
Jackson's in there too. But all right, that's it. Next week, same time and place. Everyone who's following on the live stream, Wild Bill Yonder will be reviewing Sunday, December 3rd at noon Eastern. We'll be doing our live stream review of that. So do turn up for that. But of course, we'll be on the podcast feed as well. So there you go. So until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
We're in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now. There we go, kids. Wow, that was epic. That was like an hour and 40.
That was a lot.
That
Can you
almost
imagine how
2
bad the
hours.
giggle's going to be? That's going to be forever.
I know. Yeah, I looked at the. Thanks for occasionally looking at the comments, because on my little tab here it says 394 comments, and like 96 now. So thanks everyone. If you submitted Fluid Links questions, thanks. Also, I'll be digging through those sometime tomorrow as we record those. But tell you what, we'll finish off the live stream. Thanks everyone for showing up. And we'll see you next week. All right.
Indeed. Thank you.
Bye.